Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Relationship Chronicles. I'm your host, Nina Westbrook. I'm so excited to be sharing this mini-series with you. This mini-series is brought to you by Do Tell Conversation Card Game. This season, you might notice something a little different about the way we start each episode. The holidays to me means connection, gathering with loved ones and friends. So what better way to start off each episode than with a game of Do Tell Conversation Card Game. Do Tell is a fun and exciting way to connect with your loved ones, your spouse, your family members, your friends. It's your chance to share meaningful connections, talk about some of the nitty-gritty things that we don't really get to on a daily basis, and have fun exploring and learning new things about the people you love the most. Visit DoTellCardGame.com and use the code RelationshipChronPod15 for 15% off your first Do Tell purchase. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Relationship Chronicles with Nina Westbrook. I'm your host, and today I'm here with the incredible, amazing Rachel Lindsay.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
And my longest time friend and entrepreneur, Keyonna Johnson. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Okay, so last season, we started off every episode with a game of this or that. So this time, we're going to start each episode with a game of Do Tell. Mm-hmm. Rachel, do you want to start?
I would love to.
Okay, are we going to go from the spice it up deck or keep things cool?
Spice it up.
Come on, Rachel. Thank you. I was about to say.
We're not going to
keep it spicy.
We got to set the tone for the podcast. I love this.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Who is your most recent secret crush?
Oh, that's a you question.
Well, no, I'm asking the question.
Oh. No, you have to answer your own
married.
question. I know. So
I'll get in trouble.
So then, because you're married, we have a couples deck, but since we're not in it, I'm going to allow you to skip this one.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get a pass, Rachel.
Now I'm like, do I want to do spice things up?
No.
I'm going to try one more time.
You said you wanted to get spicy.
I did. Okay. What part of your body are you most proud of? I would say my stomach.
Okay. That's a good one.
I've seen your stomach, and I would say the same thing if I was you.
Thank you so much.
Love it.
Okay, good.
Because I need to work on the other areas. And I need to tighten up a little bit.
Listen,
so that's all I got left.
We're going to leave it as stomach, and it's giving stomach.
Thank you.
For sure.
Okay.
Get things up.
That's the energy.
What is the biggest sacrifice you feel you've ever made? I think moving to San Diego, not knowing anybody, leaving the world that I knew, it was scary, but it turned out for the best. It was a major sacrifice, but it was one of the best decisions I could have made. It was risky. It was unknown, but I think it was a good sacrifice and well worth,
And you're still there.
And I'm still there.
Amen.
All
I
right.
love that. Okay.
You're going to keep it?
I kind of like to keep it cool.
Come on, Nina.
I hope it's a spicy question.
Oh. Which types of confrontations do you avoid? Okay, so I tend to avoid confrontations with people whom I'm not emotionally invested in.
Oh, that's a good one.
I thought you were going to say physical, but...
Well, those two. I've never been in a physical confrontation. Have you?
Wow.
You have? Oh, no. Okay, can we get the story on this?
No.
She's like, I plead the fifth.
Here, that you would have.
And I didn't always win.
Oh no! Well, so it was multiple times.
She's like, too many to count.
So my answer was going to be, I don't avoid any confrontation. I look for them. I'm that friend who will walk up and be like, do we have a problem here? Do we have a problem?
Like, no,
are you sure?
No.
We are the friends that will... You're tripping?
Let's go.
We need to go.
Let's go.
Time to go?
Immediately.
Take me home. If I pull out
So we go.
I'm a lawyer, take me home.
We will be taking you home.
We will be pulling you. Rachel, let's go.
I say, I got my bar card. That is a sign to take me home. And she's had enough.
Okay, great. This was so fun.
So much fun.
Okay, let's jump into it.
All right.
I'm going to admit I didn't prep a ton for this because I feel like we could just have a really good, fun combo. And you both have very unique, interesting backgrounds. And I think that you'll have a lot to offer our listeners about how to navigate I don't want to call it crazy, but the chaos of family and friendship during the holidays. You're both coming from two different perspectives. So I don't know. Are you looking forward to it? What's up?
Well, I'm always looking forward to the holidays. Yes. But the who goes where and how we do it and how long we stay and what does that look like is always a battle. And we always, I don't know about you, we always wait till the last minute to get it done. Like, I don't know what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Okay, because you have family in Florida.
Brian's family's in Florida.
Okay.
And my family's in Dallas.
Okay.
But my grandmother, who, you know, is getting older, is in Houston. So it's always, and my sister's in Dallas, but then her in-laws are in Arizona.
Okay.
So, and she's the only one with kids. So it's like, well, where are we going to be and how are we going to do it? And my mother-in-law's birthday is around Christmas. So, you know,
you have
take
a lot
that.
of things going for you. You have a lot of things going for you in terms of your argument. I always tell them it's so funny. I like whoever has the most kids goes the least distance.
That makes sense.
It's just easier, and I like it because a lot of my friends don't have kids, so I win all the time.
She definitely does.
I win all the time.
Did you make up the rule, by the way? Because
you never heard this. I've told you this before.
Yeah. And
you gotta come to me. She. You know.
I have no complaints. I will drive. I will fly to be with the babies.
And that's why you're a longtime friend.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so how do you do it? What do you do?
I compromise, right? Which is what you do in any relationship. We usually rotate. Well, I'll tell you what's good. My husband's Colombian, and so they celebrate the day before Christmas, Buena Noche. And so that's kind of helped us out because we do Christmas Eve sometimes with his family, and then we might fly Christmas Day to be with my family. Or he stays, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go see my grandmother, and then he'll meet with me. So it changes every single year. But this year, I can tell you right now, I want to spend it with my nephews. I want to wake up with them on Christmas morning. It's a magical experience because they still believe in Santa. And so that's what we're doing.
Okay.
For Christmas, at least.
You
I can't
heard
speak
it
to
here
Thanksgiving.
first.
That's right. Y'all going to see me in Miami. We did do Miami Christmas last year. So it's technically.
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
Yes, before anyone judges me, it is my turn.
Okay. So that's really good because a lot of people struggle with this. Like for me, my brother's recently married, and I've always been the only girl. I have 3 brothers, and they've never really been in very serious relationships before where I'm having to like share whose home we're going to be at or who's coming and what are we doing. So this year and last year maybe is the first time I'm having to kind of, you know, be open to everyone not coming to my house and having to split up and figure out and decide what holiday we're doing over here versus what holiday we're doing over here. It's been an interesting experience. I think it's been fine. I'm not like territorial. I really don't care. I love when my family's together. Right. That's the biggest thing. So that's quite an adjustment when the family grows and you're incorporating new family and traditions and all of that. So I can understand a little bit about that dynamic. It's different when it's not your husband. What about you, Key?
Yeah. Mine's pretty easy right now, you know. I don't have a partner to kind of like split time. So right now I kind of go where my heart flows, where I want to go.
Nice.
You know, my sister's married, so we're kind of going up to her, like Nina's talking about, you know, she has the kids, or my sister has the husband and I don't. So I'm like, let me go up to her. Same, my mom, she'll go. So mine's pretty easy right now. I don't have anybody pulling me which way. I kind of choose where I want to go. So.
I'd say enjoy it while it lasts. Because I'm actually nervous when kids come into the picture, you know, like we want to have kids. What will that be like? We're the only ones out here in LA, and Brian's family's in Miami, mine in Texas. Will they come to us? Will we have to take the baby to them? I just don't know what that looks like. So I'm already thinking of how the dynamics will change with kids.
Honestly, I mean, with Russell moving around so much, and sometimes he's home for Christmas, sometimes he's not. Last year we were separated, and I just took the kids on vacation rather. Oh. Yeah, it was like, I don't really want to have traditions of Christmas at home without Russell there. Yeah. The kids we would miss him, you know? Mm-hmm. So we just decided to try an adventure, and we did that, and it was fun.
I love that.
Yeah. But the kids, we have flown on Christmas Day. We have flown through Christmas night to get to the East Coast on a red eye. Me with all the kids, and food also in tow to meet up with Russell. I don't know. I feel like when that happens, it was never like a joyful, jolly. It was nice we were together, but we just slept. Like we kind of slept all day, and it was like lazy. It was a lazy Christmas. But I mean, yes, you have to kind of get creative. Luckily now we're kind of stationed. The kids are in school. And I'm just trying to get everyone I can to come to me. Like, I start early making plans. So, really? Yeah, like, put me on your calendar.
Are you a planner?
I am.
Like, very much so.
I am a hostess with the mostest.
Okay.
I'm not outgoing, and I'm not very social outside of my house. Mm-hmm. In my house, I have all the party tricks. I have all the games. I have all the entertainment, the food, the drinks flowing. Keyonna has been to many of my little get-togethers. And sometimes they're little, sometimes they're...
I don't know. The way you just described it, in my mind, I was like, you have stories to tell.
Have a good time.
No, I don't know. And which leads me to my Friendsgiving. I'm going back and forth with Russell. He's not like me. Like he doesn't have to have a lot of people over. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I did a Friendsgiving last year. You were there. Mm-hmm. It was so fun. You should come.
We're there. I love a gathering. Yeah. Brian sounds like Russell, but I'm like, what do I bring?
Tell him to come. He will have a really great time. It's always a great time. I mean, at least I think so.
It's always a good time. I mean,
you're biased.
No, I'm not. Also, I would tell you if it wasn't. Like, I literally always have a good time.
Yeah. So you guys are invited. That was your official invite to Friendsgiving.
And I won't let you forget.
I like Friendsgiving because our friends are so important to us, and they're like our family. Mm-hmm. And everybody wants to spend their holidays with their family. So if I have to do something prior to the holiday to get my friends together so we can share moments and chat and catch up and just love on each other, then that's what I like to do.
I feel like as I get older, not that I've not appreciated my friendships. I always have. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love you have this long-term friendship. You know, I have a few friends from high school as well. They're not here. So as we move around, we've bounced around like every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time we've been a place for 3 years. I'm realizing the importance of friendship and why it's so necessary to have that closeness because we have no family here. Mm-hmm. So I'm very much so looking forward to Friendsgiving.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And what you're saying is so true. Like we've been moving around. Even Keyonna, you've lived in many different states, maybe not several.
A few
states over the years.
I mean, we talked about
and I've obviously lived in many different places over the years, and that's like we had to kind of build community, make new friends, which is really challenging for me. Yeah. I don't make a lot of friends because I don't like to be outside. living this all over the place kind of life has really created the space to have really good friendships. I have friends all over the world, literally. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in Europe, in Paris. Can you meet me? And they're like, yeah. So it's just having those long, strong, standing friendships where maybe you don't talk every day. But when you do talk, you catch up. There's no hard feelings. Everyone knows life is happening in the midst of the gaps. And you just friends to celebrate and enjoy good times with. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's super important when you're going to a new place, like even me going to San Diego. Like, friends become your community. Yeah. They become your source. Like, I didn't know anybody in San Diego, so I had to create my community there.
Believe me, I've been there too. Do you like that? Do you find that fun? And the only reason I say that. For me. Okay. I only ask because some people thrive in that space. You know, they become this. They can reinvent themselves. I mean, we're too old for that, but you know what I mean? So I'm just wondering, do you love that?
I wouldn't say I love it, but I do. I can thrive in that sort of situation. Okay. Like when I'm put in a situation to make new friends, to meet new people, I can. So, and that's kind of what I had to do. And it's been good.
And you know what? Just to even add to that, I think that watching each other make new friends over the years has been fun. Also, I feel like I used to joke whenever they would have a new friend, and I'd be like, "Oh, no new friends."
Same. You know,
we do that too in our friend
my mom friends, and I'm like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's really funny, but you know what? Like, just like in this moment, I feel like you're a very new friend. Not very new. Yeah, I feel like we kind of just transitioned into friendship. We would see each other out. I don't know how we would see each other out all the time because I was never out. So whenever I was out, I saw you. So that
means I'm out all the time. Don't put that on me. That's true, though.
Yeah. So anytime I stepped outside, I would run into you. Games, anything. Like I'm at the game and I'm like, Nina. I'm like, oh, hey, Rachel.
It's called networking, Nina. It's networking.
I totally get it. And we finally were like, let's go to lunch. Yeah. And it's been great. So I feel like bringing my new friendships and my long old friendships together, I just want good people to be together. Yeah. I know how tough it is to find people you connect with and have a genuine connection and relationship, and they're just want nothing but good for you. It's hard to find really good people. So I like to share my people. I'm not like a jealous friend. Yeah, I'm really the queen.
And she's really good at it.
I know the people who don't do that. I know people who will not. Yeah. They're like, why are y'all hanging out without me? I have those friends.
No, I want to put together a trip if I can only see my friends once a year. Because I have friends all over. I'm like, hey, let's meet here. Nobody knows each other. Everyone trusts me. They come and everyone leaves with a whole handful of new friends. And that's kind of, you know, I really, really love that about my friendships. I feel like we all need each other.
Yes.
Like a safe space, especially for someone like you. Like, this person is like the most amazing person that you will ever meet. One of the most amazing people. And she is, anyone that she has in her life is gonna just benefit from, you know what I'm saying? And you can be safe. And we literally have been through everything together.
Everything.
I'm
like everything.
We've been through
the lowest of the low.
That's friendship. And it makes you stronger.
Totally. It's so many things. And that's why, you know, it's just I don't know. It's so important.
Not to keep harping on the friendship thing, but I just like really feel this conversation because one of the things I was really afraid of moving to LA was this, and I'll call it a myth because I have found it to not be true. The Hollywood myth of, oh, it's going to be so hard for you to make friends in LA. Everyone's so Hollywood. Everyone's going to want to get something from you. And I'm not saying that I haven't run into that, but I've been beautifully surprised at some great people that I've met in LA. And I think the trick for me is when I meet somebody who I feel like is a good, genuine person, then they'll introduce me to their friend group or their friend or their coworker that they're close with, rather than just going out to random places. Yes, I'm out and about. Instead of going out and just meeting people, I wait until I can, like a friend introduces me to another friend.
Right.
I live like very, very much like dating, right?
Yes.
I felt like the best relationships I had were when a friend introduced me to a guy or something like that. So yeah, I say that it's a myth. It's a Hollywood myth because there are really great people out here in LA.
I agree. I think that a lot of times people come here with preconceived notions of what it should be like or what it looks like. I mean, LA people are typically pretty down to earth. Like I feel like it's a pretty, and I'm not even claiming LA because I'm not technically from LA. We're from the IE.
Yes.
But I find that the people typically are super chill.
It's the transplants.
It's the
I'll say it.
It kind of is. But I'm used to, I've heard that many, many times. I'm used to hearing that.
Not me, but the truth.
No, not you. Not you at all. I feel like I saw you. Didn't I see you in Dallas one time too?
Did we see each other in Dallas?
Maybe we saw at Nobu. Did I see you at Nobu?
Yes.
I've seen you all over the world. I've been in Dallas like one time, and the one time I was there, I saw you. How does this happen?
But wait, I'm gonna tell that story off mic. So I'm gonna tell you that was pre things. I'm gonna tell you that off mic.
Okay. So let's kind of jump into. I want to know more about your experience and like what kind of advice could you share for other singles who are, entering the chaos and the craziness of the holidays, sometimes overextending. You want to go to every party, or sometimes feeling kind of like lonely and not having parties or friends or family to spend time with. Do you have any like insights into how you healthily and happily navigate the holiday madness?
I mean, it's crazy because I separated from my ex going into the holiday season, like November, December-ish. So I think that for me, I had to be intentional about filling my calendar. Like I couldn't let myself stay home because I was in this like sad space. So I had to literally put things on my calendar and say, this is what I'm going to, even if it's like going to a coffee shop, like going to a cute dinner. So just being intentional about putting things on your calendar, not allowing yourself to like fall into like seclusion, because that's kind of what you want to do. Especially, well, let me speak about, that's what I wanted to do. So what helped me is just being intentional about planning.
Wow.
And I'm not much of a planner, but I had to like,
you know what? Because you have always had me.
That's right. You are the planner, and I kind of just roll with the flow.
You're very go with the flow. That's true. But that's really good insight. Like just knowing what you need and being in tune with what you need. You're like, I need to be social. I need to be out with people. That's what fills my cup. So let me get this calendar booked up. And like I said, that's probably something that comes easy for you, even though it's not something that you like would naturally seek out because again, you're such a joyous, like happy person that people are drawn to you naturally. Yeah. You have all your work friends and that I like as well.
Thankfully not.
And I just really love and admire your ability to put yourself out there and be open to new experiences and new relationships and things like that. So that's really cool.
It's been fun. It really has.
I think last year you had maybe you seemed like you had maybe the most fun you've ever had. Like it was always a party.
Yeah. Probably.
Everything was a party.
In San Diego.
All over.
Yeah,
all
anywhere,
over.
Wherever she was a party.
How have we not run into each other?
Right.
Exactly. Okay, so what about you, Rachel? How do you think, like, since getting married, let's talk about friendship again. You've been married 2 years? How many years?
4.
4 years?
Congratulations.
I know, time flies.
So time literally flies. I definitely watched you on, can we talk about that?
Yeah. We can talk about it.
On The Bachelorette.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited. I'm not
Thank
a
you.
Bachelorette watcher, but
Neither
when
was
I
I.
heard that you were going to be the first Black woman
Mm-hmm.
that is the Bachelorette, I was like, I'm gonna watch this.
Thank you.
And you were amazing. I don't
Thanks.
know like what the standard is, but you were amazing, and I feel like who you were on that show is who you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Best compliment I could get. So I appreciate
Aw.
that.
Okay, good. Okay, so fast forward, we're married now 4
Mhm.
years. How do you feel like your friendships have changed or evolved or fallen off since finding your person?
No one's ever asked me that question before. So I'm like thinking about this and answering this in real time. My friendships haven't changed because of my marriage, but maybe it's because I'm married, my situation has changed. So we've moved around quite a bit. So because of marriage, we've moved, and that has affected my friendships. I don't get to talk to my friends, and this is not because of marriage. Please don't think that. Because I'm not there, I don't talk to them as much. And then also, I have a new built-in best friend that I'm with all the time. And, there's energy that I give to my friendships, but now I also give energy to my marriage. And particularly because I am, to steal a phrase from you from a previous podcast, was it priority partner? Is that what you called it? Priority?
Maybe, yeah.
It was, so my job causes me to move around a lot. Even if we're in LA, I'm traveling all the time.
Yeah.
So because I'm traveling, I have to make sure that I'm pouring into my relationship a lot more to not create that distance. And so I feel like I put more time into my relationship than I do my friendships. And so maybe that's, my friendships have taken a back seat. However, in 2023, my word was, I have a word every year instead of a resolution. I'm better at sticking to the word.
We're going to talk about this during
Oh.
Friendsgiving.
Okay, great.
You'll take us through it. Okay,
Okay,
go.
great. So my word was create, but it was more so to create in all ways. And one of that was with friendships, not necessarily create new friendships, but just like create moments, create time and space for my friendships. So I feel like I've done a better job with that because it's easy for me to focus in the world that I'm in and not pour into my friendships, which, as we were stating earlier in this podcast, are so important to me. And so I'm also in this space now, and also because I have more time on my hand, less jobs, of where when I think something or I feel something about a friend, I make sure that I tell them that rather than holding that in to myself.
That's important.
So in 2023, I feel like my friendships were falling off a little bit. Can't blame that on the marriage, just everything. And I feel like I've been better at cultivating friendships this year. And I hope that continues on. I don't even know if I answered your question, but that's what was on my.
I like whatever you were giving. I'll take it. I really like that.
I connected to it. Yes.
It made me think of like handling conflict in friendship. It sounds like you made a commitment to be more vocal about how you feel in your friendships. So when it comes to, and for you too, Key, when it comes to conflict in friendships, because sometimes like you learn really quick, like if this friendship is worth fighting for, is this friendship worth having conflict and having drama over? Because if it's not, then that's when people get like left behind, I feel like. To say it nicely, I don't know. But like when it's like a friendship that you care about and there's something that happens or something that conflict, life happens, you're in your feelings about something, they're in their feelings about something. How do you navigate that? Like, how do you address that? And how do you continue to build on your friendship and that you value?
I'm confrontational. So if I notice that something is off, or I'm feeling something, or maybe I'm thinking that it's coming from them, I'm immediately going to say, what's up? What's wrong? Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Doesn't always work.
Okay.
You know, I've had friendships that I've had to leave behind because, you know, we were on the same path, and then things changed in my life, things changed in their life. And it's sad to say, but friendships, you just go a different way.
Yeah.
You still always have that mutual respect for one another. But yeah, when I had the biggest struggle with my friendships? Around my wedding. Because I was bringing in new friendships with old friendships. I saw that a little bit at the bachelorette party. I saw it when it came to inviting people for the wedding and who was getting a +1 and who wasn't. And I think a lot of my older friends were afraid that I was different or maybe had changed as I was bringing in friends from this new bachelor world and people that I was meeting along the way. And because I'm confrontational, I'm like, no. We're going to sit down. Actually, I'm going to force all of y'all to get to know each other at the bachelorette party. And you're going to see everybody's fun. And then, you know, we can talk it out from there. But that's me. I don't allow stuff to just fester. I'm like, we got to talk about it right now.
I believe that about you also. I get that
but
from
I force
you.
people to talk, and that's not always great.
You might not get the result that you want if they're not mentally in a space to have the conversation.
I'm learning. Because Brian's not that way. I'm like, let's talk about it right now. And I have had to learn that's not how he communicates. So
Good. What about you, Key?
I would say I'm not much of a confrontational person, but I feel like I like to communicate. It's a struggle sometimes, but if there's any issues, like I want to find the solution.
Yes.
I don't like brushing stuff under the rug, or like I've come across people who like choose like sarcasm when they're really meaning it. It's like
passive aggression.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like using sarcasm.
That.
But
no, that's what it is.
And so for me, it's just like, what's the problem? Like, let's talk about it. Did I do something wrong? Tell me, you know, let me fix it.
How can we fix it? Exactly.
And when that happens, you guys are like open, receptive to tackling issues, like more solution. You're more like solution focused, both of you. I'm like that. I don't think I have a problem. I never have a problem reaching out, but to me, it's always, is it worth it to me to have this conversation? Because, you know, sometimes, like you said, it just doesn't, you're not clicking or it's not aligning. And because I like to put so much into my friendships and so much into my relationships, and also just living in this space where there's so much access to my family, very protective of who I bring around. Like, why are you here? And I always like to get to the bottom of it. So there are a lot of things that I sift through to determine if this is something that I want to fight for versus something that we're okay to be acquaintances, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think everyone has to be friends.
I so agree.
It's, I think the entering into my kids entering into school was a huge adjustment for me because you're almost forced to have to be open to new relationships and my mom friends. Like, I have mom friends and then I have friends that are moms that are just my friends now. And that's challenging. And the way I kind of deal with things with other people, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time I don't really like a lot of stress and I don't like drama. I feel like I have so much of my own personal stress and drama that it's got to really be worth it to me to go through a whole lot in friendships. Like, I like going through, like when we're going through things together or my friend is going through something, but like fighting back and forth is not, I don't feel comfortable in that space. Like, I'm trying to let in as much light and happiness. And like, obviously the struggle's going to be there. Like, I don't have any shortage of challenges, obstacles, struggles, conflict, drama in my life. So any unnecessary drama that I can eliminate, I'm going to eliminate it.
Isn't it beautiful when you get to a space, like you get to a point in your life where you're like, I just don't have time for that. Or I don't even care to put energy. You know, like back in the day when you were worried, at least this is for me, I was so worried about what people would think or this friendship and, you know, making it work or making that person like me. Yeah. And then you just get to a point where you're like, I'm good. Mm-hmm. And listening to the way that you were talking about it, it's like, I only have enough energy for this. I'm only allowing this into my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay if you can't give me that and I can move on. It's like a beautiful space to be in.
It really is. And I think that once I don't know when you got there or when
31. I can tell you the exact date.
Okay.
Was there a moment? Did something happen?
A relationship. It always is. It always is. I ended a 5-year relationship and I had started going to therapy. So maybe it was a process. Okay. I started to go to therapy a year before that relationship ended. And I went to therapy. I wrote about this. I went to therapy to save the relationship, but I ended up saving myself. And I walked away from that relationship, one toe still in, but pretty much walked away from the relationship.
The pinky toe.
That pinky toe was it. But I pretty much had walked away. And it was at that point that I was just realizing you're going to be okay and you don't need this. And it was this level of self-awareness that I got from therapy and the power in letting something go and the strength that gave me. And that's why I can specifically point to 31. Mm-hmm. And then I went on The Bachelor. It was the same year.
I mean, I feel like it is such a beautiful and amazing feeling when you come to that place. I mean, it takes a long time. Like, I think about all the life that I lived in my 20s. Girl. And I'm like, whoa, I really thought I really thought I knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like, I thought that I knew. I'm very logical. I'm very reasonable. I'm not extremely biased. My psyche is kind of governed by fairness and justice and rules and like things are supposed to go this way. And I was not aware of how far off I was until after, I think, having my kids. And then I realized, like, wow, I just really don't care about what other people think and say and do anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just solely focused on my own happiness and then the kids' happiness. Right. Because for me, like, their lives are peachy. They have amazing, great lives. They have great, amazing parents. But in order to be that, I have to be happy, you know? Yeah. And it's just so freeing to get to that space where you prioritize your own needs and your own happiness. You don't feel pressure to conform or to be something for someone that you just don't have the energy or time to be.
Absolutely.
So
no, I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of reverse the question that I asked Key about advice for singles heading into the holidays of how to you know, prioritize themselves and just have fun and be in a good, healthy mind space. What kind of advice or what did you find worked well for you as a newlywed or then and now going into the holidays? How do you navigate that?
Well, to still from something that you said, I think it was just important that we were together. You know, my favorite holiday is New Year's Eve. Really? So, yeah, that's more.
That doesn't surprise me, seeing that you like to be so outside.
Now, wait a minute. I actually have been inside these past few New Year's.
Wait a second.
But you know, it's more about like the renew. I'm one of those people who gets really caught up in like new year, new me. I'm one of those annoying people. Okay. But I'm saying that to say I'm not married to Thanksgiving or Christmas. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was about being together, family. I wanted to know, especially being from different cultures, my husband and I, what was important to them? How did they celebrate? who comes over, when do you do it? And that's how I learned about Christmas Eve. And I was like, oh, okay, I never knew that. So that was talking that out. And then he was like, my mother's birthday's around the holidays. It's very important to her. And even in talking to my mother-in-law, she's like, listen, if we don't celebrate Christmas in Florida, I would like to come wherever you guys are. That hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened. But I was like, okay, that's fine. And then 2 years ago, we actually celebrated Christmas 2 weeks before the actual holiday. And we got both families together and we went to Tennessee in the mountains and we all stayed in this house together and we celebrated in that way. So we found ways to get creative to bring everyone together. Yeah. And that really comes back to what you were saying about communication, remembering that it's important to be together. And then really just sacrifice. Sometimes I had to get out of my own feelings of what I'm used to. Though, because we were 30, I was 34, I think, when I got married. Okay. And so I was so used to doing things a certain way and seeing certain people. And I had to let that go. Mm-hmm. And Brian is a lot more chill than me. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm like, and so I had to learn to soften up a bit and, you know, to not take too much control and just, you know, let it be a give and take. Mm-hmm. I've grown a lot through marriage. I have to say, not to pat myself on the back.
You pat yourself on the back.
But I just have really learned the beauty of sacrifice and compromising through marriage. And I'm still learning. Yeah. It, you know, continuous. They don't talk about the work enough. It's not easy, but I'm still learning.
You just said something. I feel like a lot of people get wrapped up in this word sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And you can also speak to this because you've been married, mm-hmm. you've seen what worked, what doesn't work, or whatever the case may be. And people think that when you say you have to sacrifice, like that's a negative thing. Like we should just be happy. Like if I have to work this hard, then it's not right, right? Yeah. And I just don't understand. And it's so funny. First Lady Michelle Obama. I went to her book tour here when Oprah was moderating. I don't know if she said this at this. She did. She alluded to or made a comment about how everyone was so up in arms when she said for a portion of her marriage, she didn't like her husband.
I think she said 10 years.
Yeah. And she's like, you guys, like, young people don't understand, like, you have to work for marriage. You have to work every day. And sometimes it's going to be good. It's not peaches and cream every single day. Mm-hmm. And when people hear the word sacrifice, I don't know what they think of. But unfortunately, I feel like it has such a negative connotation to it when you're talking about a relationship. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit more about what it means to sacrifice in a relationship and how it helps you to sustain a healthy relationship?
Yeah, I think people get scared, or at least this was maybe my thought. I thought if I sacrifice that I'm losing myself and I'm becoming somebody different. And especially when you have come from that relationship before where you did lose yourself, and there's such a fear of, oh my gosh, it's going to happen to me again. Mm-hmm. But what I learned to realize is with the right person, you can trust that they will never allow that to happen for you. So it's not a sacrifice as in I was giving up, you know, who Big Rach, that's what they call me, girl.
Okay, Big Rach.
Who Big Rach is.
Okay, Big Rach. You know what? That's funny.
I love it.
It was more of, okay, you're not just making those decisions for you. I had to look at it this way. We're making decisions for our family unit. Mm-hmm. And right now, the best decision is to go this way. It might be a sacrifice for me right now, but it's for the betterment of our family. And I think once I could realize that, then I didn't even really look at it as a sacrifice. I just thought this is just going to be great for our family in the future that we're building.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wow. I think what you're saying is so spot on in what's going to be good for the family. And also you have to kind of understand just because you're Big Rach and you have your feelings and your emotions about what's important to you, that doesn't mean that your partner or your friend or whomever else does not have those same big emotions about what's important to them because they may not express it the same way or share it or communicate it the same way. And when you think about it, like, you can never be 100% fair in a relationship when you have you guys live in 2 different states. There are 2 of you. Who has the last vote, right?
Yeah.
It can't be fair. You have to be able to give a little bit or give a lot, actually, to maintain the relationship. But the key is, you're right, to have someone who's also willing to give and put into the relationship so that you guys are giving to each other, like back and forth. Otherwise, you're only giving, like the resentment. That's where the resentment comes in. And then that's not good for the relationship. What about you, Key?
No, I'm so glad that you guys are talking about that because, like you said, the work in marriage isn't talked about a lot.
No.
And so, I mean, it is like, I think now so much people really focus on happy, happy, happy. And like you said, Michelle was talking about, First Lady Michelle.
And Big Rach.
You know, it's not always about happy, happy. It's about the unit and making sure your family is okay. And how we talk about friends. You can have a friendship and you're like, listen, I'm worried about me. This is my boundaries. Right. But you can't do that in a marriage. Like, you guys are working it through, happy or not. Like, we're trying to come to a solution. And that takes sacrifice and compromise. And it's not always about me. And I think people struggle with that, not being so focused on themselves and having to put somebody else's thoughts, feelings above theirs sometimes.
Because it was the lie that we were told, I feel like, as kids. Oh, you're going to get married and it's going to be wonderful.
Fairy tale.
Like, all your troubles will go away when you find that, it was like a Disney movie or something. And then you get in it and you're like, well, why didn't you tell me about all the work? Every day is work in a relationship. And now I feel like we're getting to a place where we talk about those things, but that's not the way that we grew up.
No. And it's so refreshing, and why I think it's so important to have these conversations, especially for young people. I feel like we are getting away. Well, maybe we used to get into marriage very quickly, not understanding what it entailed, the work, right? And now people are pushing it off and getting in later and waiting for perfection.
Yes.
And long-standing joy and happiness in a relationship, someone to fulfill them, all of these things. Last season, I got a chance to talk to Matt Higgins, and he says something that I will continue to repeat because it was so powerful to me, is that, when he was looking for relationships, or what he believes people should look for in relationships, is not someone to complete them, but someone that elevates them and makes them better, right? Because it's our job to complete ourselves. And I think that it could be, there's like a balance. There's like a healthy balance between fulfilling your own needs and your own happiness and wants in a marriage versus the sacrifices that you have to make and the compromises that you have to make to sustain a healthy, happy relationship where both people feel seen and heard and safe, right? Because we don't ever want to, like you said, we don't want to lose ourselves.
No.
We don't want to become someone else because we're accommodating someone else, and that's the fear for a lot of us. So you kind of just have to be vulnerable, right? And open, and give people the opportunity to prove you right or wrong, either way.
Do you guys find it tough to be vulnerable? Because I feel like I'm past the immature thinking of, because I used to think this way, that it was weak. I used to think it was a sign of weakness, and that's just because of the way that I was raised. Deep-rooted issues. But I don't look at it that way, but I still find sometimes it's so hard for me to be vulnerable. And to your point, it's so key to having a successful relationship, not just with a significant other, in friendship and everything. But I'm always a work in progress. I have to think about it. I'm like, okay, Rachel, soften it up. Be a little more vulnerable.
I mean,
let him
do you
in.
I don't think that I struggle with being vulnerable. I feel like I've always been very open with my emotions and very much an emotional person. So, for me, it's not that challenging. Also, which we were kind of talking about before, I think that things that I've struggled with, things that I've gone through, I tend to like share with people because I feel like it helps people who are currently going through that.
Okay.
And so, you know, my scars can help people understand, like, I can get through this. And that's really what I try and do. I try and use the things that are difficult for me to kind of just give people hope that, like, she can get through it, like, so can I. You know?
It's your testimony.
Now.
Yeah, it's your testimony.
I know before.
I'm like you. I'm like you. I'm not gonna stop calling you Big Rage. I can't.
It's an old basketball name.
I cannot stop calling you Big Rage. I'm like you, Big Rage. I think that it used to be very challenging for me to be vulnerable, not because I felt it was weak. I think that I always grew up wanting to make the right choices and do the right thing all the time. I had 3 brothers growing up. Again, deep-seated, rooted, whatever childhood stuff where I felt pressure to be good and right and do the things all the time. So asking for help or being vulnerable was outside of what felt like comfortable for me because I'm like, well, if I need help, then I'm not sufficient. I'm not living up to who I'm supposed to be right now. And so doing everything myself, it was my thing. And it wasn't until after I had kids probably where I decided, oh, I need help. Please help me. I just called Keyonna like, girl, I gotta go to Disneyland. I can't take all 3 of my kids to Disneyland by myself. I need you to come help me because, you know, who's going to ride the ride? They're not tall enough to ride by themselves. Like, I need some help. Can you drive down from San Diego to come to Disneyland with me and these kids? And she's like, I'll be there.
Yes.
But when that's what changed me is like learning the hard way that I could not do everything myself. And I was so burnt out. And I just hated asking for help from people. I'm like, I'm strong. I'm used to helping other people. And I think that's a therapist thing also. We're so accustomed to caring a lot for other people and wanting to help other people that we sometimes put our own needs and our own feelings and things to the side. But now I'm like, hey, if it doesn't serve me, it doesn't make me happy, I'm not doing it. I'm very sorry, but this is just who I am, like at this point. And it feels so good to be that way. It feels really good to be in that space where like, and I'm so fortunate. I have the most amazing husband. And he's like, people are constantly like, oh my God, he does that? What? Like, they think it's so weird that he, you know, takes the kids to school and picks them up from school and takes them here. Like, their appointments, like, they think it's so weird because I think, I don't know, again, the preconceived notions of what he would be like in real life, when really he's just a very supportive, hands-on, and makes me feel safe and comfortable to be vulnerable. So again, taking that right person to not take advantage or make you feel any less than or weak or whatever the case may be when you do open up is important. Relationships it's hard.
Why do
it's
we
a
do
lot.
them?
Right. Why?
There's some upsides. There are some upsides.
No, that sounds great. Let's do why.
Okay, so just to kind of like wrap things up, full circle moment for everyone listening, I feel like there was so much, like we got so much amazing wisdom and so many great gems from you today. Is there anything else that you would share that you have recently thought about or learned or come to understand that you think might help any of the listeners or even myself?
Well, okay, for me, recently, I was sharing this before off mic about I went on a vacation, 2 weeks, got away, completely detached from my life, my real life, and was living in a fairy tale land. But that kind of reflection really made me think about, I thought a lot about the type of partner that I have been through a very stressful year for various reasons. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I would encourage your listeners or share it with a friend that sometimes you think, and like, I hate to say this about myself, I could be a little bit of a know-it-all. I'm a Taurus.
Okay, big Rach.
I'm stubborn. I'm an Enneagram 8, all the things. I know all the number
That's
things.
self-awareness, and that's you being vulnerable, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. But I realized that, what was I saying? Oh, I realized that I was so looking at the person and what they were doing, Brian, and I wasn't looking at the type of partner that I was in the relationship and what I was giving and how outside factors were affecting me. And that was contributing to some of the ups and downs in the relationship. And I really took a hard look at myself and asked myself the question, how can I be a better partner in this relationship? And when I was thinking that, I'm like, when is the last time, if ever, have I asked myself that question? And I don't know. I just could see more clearly when I was separated from him in Europe. Let me say that a different way because it's going to sound like we separated. When I was on vacation in Europe.
Solo vacation.
But I just would encourage people to I have self-awareness, but I didn't have self-reflection. And I was not asking myself how I could be better, for the family unit, for this relationship. So that's something recently that I've thought a lot about. And I feel like came back just better for our relationship.
That's so good. And just to piggyback off that for the single side, because that's super important. Even as a single, dating, exploring all the people, what have you. Mm-hmm.
Exploring all the people.
Meeting new people, getting to know people. It's a journey. But just like you said, the self-reflection. Someone, I forget who I was listening to, Andy Stanley maybe. Mm-hmm. He has a slogan, are you the person you're looking for is looking for? Mm. And so that ties back into you have to, even as a single, you have to be filled. You have to be ready. You have to healed, work on yourself to present yourself to the person that you're looking for. And I think that ties back into your self-reflection. You have to be working on yourself, doing the work first before you're ready to find somebody else.
Good thing to remember.
That's amazing. Yeah. 2 mic drop moments.
And we're done now.
Thank you so much. This was so amazing. I cannot wait. Can you imagine what Friendsgiving is going to be like?
Amazing. A good time.
Amazing.
And there'll be libations. I'm so excited.